pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome to the meeting, guys. First up is to approve the agenda as presented.
Make a motion to approve.
And first and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Approve minutes from the November 25th, 2024 regular meeting. Everybody have a chance to read them.
Yep. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Approve employee claims filed with the county auditor in the amount of $628.13.
So move.
Second.
First and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Approve claims filed with the county auditor for $158,216.29.
Motion to approve.
Second.
First and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Approve Independence Bulletin Journal as legal newspaper.
Since that's our only paper in the county, I go ahead and
Yeah.
approve that.
We just have to do that every year. They send us a notice requesting it, so.
Okay.
Motion to approve that.
I would second that.
First and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. All right. Well, I don't know where the library county board is. Right.
Snow delay.
Sitting out hallway.
They're coming.
Morning.
Morning, Kathy. Yeah.
They fall out of a tree stand near my place.
Morning, Laura. You guys can come on up here if you want. You're next on the agenda.
Too much about it. They had the ambulance and everything out there.
What day was that?
I think it was Friday or Saturday. 67-year-old said he fell out of a tree at 20 foot.
You don't down when you're 67 years old. Oh,
You're all right. I think you're sorry.
I said he stood up and hit his shot at a big buck.
good morning, ladies.
Good morning.
All right.
Morning,
In trouble?
Good contingency.
They asked me to come, I don't know.
Under control, maybe? Yes, librarians are kind of crazy.
All right, you're up.
Did we introduce ourselves?
Sure.
I think you probably know us, but I'm Angela Bergen. I'm the Fairbanks Library Director.
Becky Burke, Jessup Library Director. Angie Lamont Library Director.
Nina Payne Winthrop, Library Director.
Laura Blaker, Independence Library Director. We just thank you for your time today. We appreciate being able to be on the agenda. We just wanted to talk briefly about our libraries and our funding. And what do you guys think of when you think of a library?
Book.
Yeah. I think that's what most people think of, books and checking out books, and that's a huge part of what we do. I guess we also have other benefits that we provide to the community beyond that. Where besides just checking out like physical books, we also have virtual ebooks and audiobooks and magazines. And we're also a place that provides programs and events, bringing some culture and recreation to our rural community. We also have, we're basically a gathering place. I always think of that when like we have our story times and then afterwards the moms and sometimes dads, stay and mingle and talk and it's in a world where we often connect electronically. It's nice to have places where we also can connect face to face. We're definitely a community gathering place. And then we also save people a lot of money. We have on our receipts, when we don't use our receipts much, but when we check out books, if we print out a receipt, it says you've saved, $300 this year by using the library. So, because of that, I was thinking about that and I, looked and did a report, from our circulation system and, so I got like how much money people had saved, over the course of a year from checking out physical items. And then I did a report of how many virtual items had been checked out. And then, figured out like how much it would cost people to purchase those items on their own, like if they're going to purchase their own audiobook, to listen to. And so just with the Independence Public Library last fiscal year, people saved $1.3 million by using the library. So we do provide a lot to the communities and are very important to our communities. So just wanted to briefly mention those things beyond just having the books on the shelves.
I got a question, Laura. How many people come in and have to use like your computer system, because they don't have a home computer? Quite a few folks like that.
We do. We have several that come in regularly that use ours either because they don't have a computer at home or they don't have internet at home or their internet at home is terrible.
We have a
You
lot.
guys have a few.
We have a lot that use our, because they don't wanna buy a printer, or they have a printer, but they don't want to buy ink, so they can print or make copies. Also use the fax, which is, usually used just for mostly governmental stuffs anymore. But that's a big percentage of patrons that we get into the Winthrop Library.
But they have to pay for their copies, they print on.
The copy, I don't know about the other ladies at the Winthrop Library, it's 10 cents for black and white and 25 cents for color per page.
And I do know the Independence Library has hosted a lot of community meetings, like we've had legislatures come in and we've had presentation on water quality issues, economic development, and I think you provide a room when Congress people, staff want to come in and meet with people, don't they? Provide with the community room or another room to meet with
Yeah,
them?
we often do. Our community room it kind of dropped, obviously it dropped off very much during COVID and it's been building back, but it's been very busy lately. And then we're lucky enough to have study rooms too, and those have been busy where people can come and we proctor tests and, if somebody, it's often more productive to go somewhere where you're not at home with all of the things that need to be done and, people can be a lot more productive, coming and using a quiet space at the library.
Sorry to interrupt, but-
No, that's great. So, yeah, feel free if you have questions. We do have a handout that's about funding. I guess I gave you 3 copies, so sorry. I could have just handed each of you
I
one.
thought maybe they were all different.
Sorry about that. Each of you guys have one. Okay, thank you. So, at the top, we've got some charts, and those are Buchanan County and state funding for libraries. And it's historical over the last 5 or 6 years. You can see we have been around $12 to $14 to $15 per capita in the last several years. And the state funding from counties across the state for their libraries has been in the $18 to $22 per capita. We have increased 6% over the last several years, which we have really appreciated. The last couple of years, we've gotten 3% both this year and last year increases where it had been pretty much stagnant before then. So we have appreciated those increases. You can see statewide, there have been, increases of about 12%. So Buchanan County right now, we're at 1465 per capita. And I know you guys had mentioned that you'd like to see us compare to other counties that were more similar to us. So we looked at counties that were similar in population and then looked at the valuation. And so narrowed it down to those that were very similar to us in both population and valuation, no more than a 15% difference on either side. Those counties are Cedar, they're listed down below. Cedar, Clayton, Jackson, Madison, Washington, Iowa, and Jones counties. And the average of those is 1714 per capita. And then more of a geographic look, average of surrounding counties is 2033. And then the state average is 2183.
Yeah, there's no way we could keep up with Blackhawk and Lynn.
Sure, which
Yeah.
is kind of why we did the similar ones, thinking that that might be a better gauge to look at. So this year it's, our funding is 117,796. And, as I mentioned, we have a lot of different services that we offer, to our patrons. And it's hard to quantify a lot of those, hard to say how much somebody benefits from a program or being able to back something or being able to use a study room. But, so we are using checkouts here. Last year we checked out 39,336 items. That includes both the virtual and the physical items, to county patrons in our libraries. And so if we take that and look at our total funding, that would be $2.99 per checkout. Which I think when you look at like the item itself and the labor and just having the doors open and the electricity and all of that, what they say and is a typical value equated with checkout is $15.
And that actual comes from the state. That's the number, right? The state gives us that's kind of how we should figure that out.
Yeah, I guess I don't know where I don't think I got it from the state, but it might be there.
I think Eunice had mentioned something. Like
Okay.
that, so yeah.
Yeah. I think, yeah, that's a kind of a rule of thumb number. And then our request for next year is $16.22 per capita.
What does that relate to in a percentage?
It's actually what we asked for last year, so we kept it the same. I think it is around 10%.
What did we give you last year?
I didn't do a percentage, but it would be the request would be a $12,645 increase.
12,000 what, Chris?
645? And last year you guys appropriated 117,796 to them.
Where is the standing on all the communities? I know some communities like weren't taking advantage of the library, the citizens that vote for it and stuff. Which citizens are not, or which towns now are not contributing to the library? Is Quoski back still in the play and?
Yep, Pulaski and Stanley and Hazelton are, Raleigh and Brandon are not.
The two that are not is Raleigh and Brandon.
Yeah.
But the rest of the county citizens can.
Mhm.
And again, they can actually, even though if they're not contributing, they can actually come in and use the library. They're just not allowed to check out items out. So they can come print things. They can come read stuff while they're there. They just can't check stuff
They can
out.
come to programs.
Yep,
We have a lot of
programs.
them use
Yep.
our summer reading program, even though
Yep.
they live within city limits of Brandon or Raleigh, so cannot get a library card.
Right. Now, does this come out of general services or rural services?
Rural.
And those, like Brandon and Raleigh, could they come in and use the computer systems?
Yep.
At our library, they cannot, just because you have to use a library card to log into.
Oh.
At ours, they can.
Yep, and ours too.
Library's
you're-
about the only thing left in Jessup.
Yeah, you're right. You're
So
right.
is Independence the only one that requires a library card and the rest of them don't?
Yes.
We have library cards, we just don't have them for the computer use. Do you?
We have a guest number. We give people, if they don't have a library card with us, even if they're coming from Des Moines, we have a guest, we give them guest numbers so they can still use our computers.
Okay. So I don't have any more questions. I just, I truly believe, libraries are a great asset to the communities in the county. That's my bottom line, how I feel about it. I hate to see us not have libraries. It would be devastating.
Agreed.
So everything comes with a cost. And we've seen a lot of huge increases in cost. I don't know, salaries and stuff, I don't know how you ladies are paid. I suppose the city councils and stuff, everybody decide on what you get paid and everything. And
Their library boards.
The library boards, that's their paid. City council also, funds them though.
City council decides like our bottom line, and then
Yeah.
the library boards can decide within that how to allocate the funding.
And I know there's also some rules and regulations as far as how much of the funding has to be spent on books and stuff like that. If I remember right, isn't?
Mm-mm.
Oh, I thought cities.
Nope.
There was.
Nope. They, again, the city council just gives us a bottom dollar and then we adjust where it fits in that budget.
Keith, do you have any questions?
Right.
thank you very much, ladies, for what you
Thank you.
do.
Thank you.
Keep up the good work.
Thank you.
We do have a,
Thank you for putting up stuff in the paper too.
Oh, yeah, you're welcome. Definitely
annual.
big people
report.
actually see it and
Thank you for
makes a
doing
difference
that.
with not having it. That's a paper.
But,
Yeah.
our 28E says we need to do an annual report, so we. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks.
Thank
You
you.
guys have a good week. Drive
Yeah.
safely out there.
Next up is Evan, Jayesh, and Eagle View contract.
Good morning. How's it going?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Good.
What does Eagle View do?
So Eagle View is our aerial photography of the county that we have flown triannually. So it's basically the GIS base map that feeds the assessor's office, the zoning office, my office, dispatch. We also feed it to about 50 engineering firms, every city. Sometimes even adjacent counties want access to it, so it's used a lot. So, a couple weeks ago, I was contacted to sit down with Eagle View, me and Brad Harms. And so we heard him out on a budget amendment proposal, which wouldn't so much be an amendment as it'd be, we would budget for it in the coming fiscal year. So as it sits, we normally do 3-inch. We usually do 3-inch in the cities and 6-inch in the county. So resolution wise, it's a fair amount better than Google Earth, but there is some room to improve. I have had some end users such as Brad or, dispatch always liked more resolution
Mhm.
to increase, so. The cost has come down significantly. Especially since I started in 2018, it's probably cut itself by 40%. But at the same time, it does represent an increase, which is why I'm bringing it before the board, before anyone budgets for it. So, as you can see at the bottom in my not always so great handwriting, the total annual price would be $43,705.27, which represents a total increase of $8,524, which would be split between 3 different departments for an increase in that line item of $2,841
First department.
per department.
How many departments put that?
That's secondary roads, that's me, and that's Brad down in the assessor's office.
And assessor.
Yep. So as it sits currently, we pay $11,727 a year. For a grand total of $35,181.
This would be for 3-inch,
Yep, throughout.
and that's what,
They kind of got interested in it in 2020 during the COVID epidemic. The company decided that they'd cut us a deal because their flights were grounded because all their pilots had COVID. So we ended up with 3-inch throughout the county, and everyone who used it really liked it. So they kind of got a taste for it during that pandemic. And since then, we went back to the 3-inch and 6-inch model. And so since then, it's been, okay, could we get the 3-inch back?
Does zoning use it?
Yep.
And they're not paying?
No.
Anything out of their budget towards?
Not presently. It was, the way it was set up on payments predates me. It might even predate James and go back to when the department was run by Ray. So we could have a sit down and discuss the breakout of it. Because I know Brad said that the cities and stuff help fund that. For me, it does. And I guess we could get the zoning board in on it.
so it's still the
Zoning
same.
zoning board.
Yeah,
It is.
it all comes out of the pot. It just that it shows better operating costs for each individual departments where you can divide things up.
Right.
I don't know how much Amber uses it, and nothing. I don't know if it's just regular she uses for all the zoning.
It's the background map for all the GIS software, so both her and the new gentleman who's starting, Justin?
Yeah.
I think Justin, yeah. So they would both end up using it.
It might give a clear picture by department if we were to add planning and zoning into that, but it all comes out of the same pot eventually, but
Yeah, but it just shows what the cost is operating in different departments. Just and kind of our, I think our firm kind of recommend us be doing that.
mhm.
Okay. Did you want me to, I could get on a, this coming Monday, I'm off for deer season, but the adjacent one, I could get on to a, end of the agenda so that we could talk it out between us and possibly zoning, and I'll bring Brad too. Try to break it out more. Okay. Not too bad.
That would be a good suggestion, I think.
Okay.
Keith, you have any?
Is this
Questions?
sound, I mean, how long, this is something that they only order pricing for 30 days, 60 days, or how soon do we have to move on this?
I think we have some time. I can email our guy, his name's Ryan. I can email Ryan and ask how long their proposal is good for
Okay.
and get back to you guys, because
It'd be, we don't want to procrastinate too long on it if there's a deadline.
right. Usually they're really flexible. Eagle View's been pretty good to work with. So as far as they're concerned, I'm sure we can make it work, but I just wanted to know your guys' thoughts on moving from the 6 and the 3 to just the 3.
Keith has some questions.
Yeah, that's how the high resolution 3-inch. Is there any benefits continuing the 3-inch? What's the step down? Is there a 6-inch? Do they offer?
Yeah, there's a 3, there's a 6, there's a 9. We can keep moving down in increments. We've talked about specifically to save money, some of the smaller towns, moving them down to 6. But that kind of gets dicey since they also pay part of the contract. So as soon as they see, hey, I'm still paying, but my resolution's decreasing, it gets weedy.
Yeah, so usually, I don't know, when I would use it, aerial photos, I would tend to jump to the higher resolution if I was looking for a particular area, but a cost savings measure would be to use a lower resolution every other one kind of conversation.
Also like 3 now and then 3.6 later.
Yeah.
See, that would make sense,
I
yeah.
mean, something to consider at least. And then the other question I have is, how many bidders have you received? I know ASI used to do, photos.
This is a pre-existing contract, so in this case, it's just a continuation of what we already currently have signed in place.
Okay.
But, I also looked at, there's a satellite, company. Specifically, we like the space or the temporal resolution of it, because if it floods, 24 hours, we'll have imagery of it. But the cost of it was like 40% more.
Have the other companies, you mentioned Google Earth and companies like that, have they reached out to purchase the aerials from us, or have we
Previously,
looked to leverage that?
we've consistently given it to them. However, it's never been set up that we make them pay for it.
Sure.
I can reach out to Eagle View and ask if we can distribute it for profit. Because if we can, it makes sense that we would, because it's taking company time and resources.
Sure, and then obviously the DOT would use it. I think C3 has a site as well.
I think so. We do have there's a portal that you can share like high resolution imagery of your county in.
Yeah.
And I know there's a Black Hawk and Winter on it, but different
Items to consider.
exactly.
Yep.
They fly 3-inch yearly, so
Yeah.
it's a totally different beast.
And especially, I think just a couple of years ago, they re-blew the LiDAR, so,
Yep.
I mean, that gives us the higher resolution as well anyway,
So
so.
yeah, we got great elevation data. And usually to fill in the gaps, we're able to use the NAIP, the National Agriculture Index Program. So we get low resolution, but we get every year. So you can tell at least, yeah, there's a building there. We don't know what it is.
Sure.
Yeah. So it's in the works.
Something to consider.
Yeah. Well, I can write to Eagle View and see how they are about us distributing it, because it makes sense that we would at least recoup some on it. Because at least in the Jessup area and out by some of the golf courses, we get continuous requests for, hey, we're doing this.
Or even if they were to sell themselves, and hopefully that would lower our price.
That would work too, yeah. Yeah, I'll take a look at that.
This proposal that Evan presented, it looks like the expiration date is April 15th of 2025.
So we have time.
Mhm.
Oh, there it is.
Okay. Is there anything else?
Nope, that's pretty much what I got. Great.
Okay, so you'd set up maybe something to come back and also.
This coming Monday, I'm out for deer season, but the adjacent. Yep, and then I can get everyone involved together, so secondary roads, now zoning, assessor's office and myself. And we can hash it out how we want to break down the payment schedule. Well, not payment schedule, but payment.
That'd be great.
Okay. Sounds good. Then, well, guys, thank you for your time.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you. All right.
Yeah.
Meet with sheriff regarding camera upgrade for his patrol unit. Bring IT up to the front of the room too?
I know you gave some quotes last time,
We-
and I brought over. There's the one I gave you with,
Top of the dips.
G-Tech. This is the more updated one.
This is old, this is new.
Yeah.
We'll start with the new, then I'll give you the old, I don't get confused.
And we also,
Trace with G-Tech is here.
Come on up.
okay. Once we. Don't expect it like this. Good.
There's also your barber is here, and your neighbor, and mechanic.
Bring everybody, you know.
Yeah.
Your therapist, there's therapists.
Therapist, you know.
Two. Three. Four. That's the new one.
Hey, Chris.
Do you think you want one too?
No, I got my own.
You need a
Do
copy?
you need one? Sure.
I have it on my computer. I didn't know if I could bring that up or not. If you don't mind.
This is kind of a fitting cost for, there's going to be, I just checked with Carl's as far as what it would cost to take out the old systems and put in the new ones per unit, so,
So that'd be in the above cost of this.
Are we
Yes.
recommend the units down there or?
it'd probably be the easiest.
Staples. John?
I think for the amount of work that it take, that's about the,
Old.
old, yeah, there's a lot of to do it. And my chicken scratch there was for 13 minutes.
Did you want one of these, Chris?
It's quick.
That's what I got when I first did it. The revised one is,
Oh, this is an old one without fitting.
yeah, that's just the upfitting one. That's a separate, that's not, I don't think you put that in the
Fitting one that I'm making copies right now, the last one that you gave me. This dollar bill, what was it,
7,000.
176,000?
Or so
No.
6 would be the old quote.
Sorry.
I'm down, pass it around. This is the original that you gave me.
I think Chris just put one down on his. So this is the old one.
Yes, I think I did.
76.
There you go.
Yeah, the single page is the old.
So, pass it back.
So this is 176 is the old one.
Oh.
Yeah.
sweet. You said doing this one earlier.
Well, we had a couple other body cams.
All right, so we got going on here, Scott.
All right. So from the old one to the new one, I did request for an extra couple body cams, and obviously that would increase our storage for the yearly cost of storage fees. So
That's your cloud storage on there.
yeah.
I jump in too, Sheriff. On that 176, there was not 5-year warranty on the in-car. And Jason requested, so this new one adds year 4 and 5 warranties to the in-car. If they would sign, if Sheriff could make the purchase this year, the incentive was we gave to the 2 body cams and mounts for them free as an incentive, but then it did increase the cloud storage. That extra charging, nothing went up like per unit cost. It was just that addition of the warranty on the third or the in-car, and then the additional cloud storage on the 2 body cams that are complimentary.
And a little bit of this increase on the 2 body cams is something that I know is gonna be coming up that I'm gonna be requesting during budget to go, I guess, approval or with that additional possible 2 more deputies. So this kind of looking into the future now instead of before I know the approval, or being able to do something like that either, so I guess I'm trying to plan for what could be. Obviously, if things aren't approved, then kind of the original quote, we could probably get back down to that outside of getting that warranty for the total of 5 years.
Scott, do our dealers currently wear body cams?
No.
There's really no need for that.
No, there's a lot of cameras back there,
Yeah.
for every individual cell and things like that. There's times where it would be handy, in those blind spots, but it's pretty well covered back there as far as for the majority of the areas back there, covered by, security cameras.
I have a question. So many times we hear about, and we kind of ran into this, what your system you got now is obsolete, can't get parts, nothing available, can't repair this because there's no.
They don't make them.
Don't make them, so how long are we gonna be good with this?
Good question.
Okay, with me.
Yeah.
So GTAC, we're part of the old GE. We're one of the largest companies in the world. Our video systems have been around since 2017. We've been making ruggedized computers for the military since 1989. The company's not going anywhere. We're not getting bought or sold. The system, so that's kind of the stability of where we're at. You're not going to get a hold of us and say, sorry, we're not here anymore. The actual hardware itself, the in-car systems, we're seeing them last between 5 and 7 years, depending on the usage and the environment they're in. The body cameras will be obsolete, need to be replaced in 5 years. They have a 5-year warranty on them. That includes batteries. Even if the battery life starts degrading, we direct replace. We ship from Bloomington, Minnesota, where our headquarters is. Whoever sheriff is designee sends an email to our support saying this serial number doesn't work anymore. They overnight a new body cam. The old one goes in the box, comes to the return label, and goes back up there. So at the end of 5 years, though, to be honest, you will need to get new body cameras. The technology will have changed so much, and then you'll be out of warranty on those. The in-cars do. I have some of them lasting 7 or 8 years. And they're one of our ruggedized military computers. The brain of the system is the DVR for it.
If any of the components in these radio systems crash and stuff like that, and they need to be replaced.
Yep.
Is the replacement model gonna be available?
Yes. So we're in our 4th generation of body cam, for example. We still warranty and send out. We have a stock of our 2nd generation that came out in 2018. So we do keep those for existing customers. We don't sell them to new customers anymore. We do have those in our 3rd generation as well.
Because a lot of times you hear that the new one's not compatible with the old system, and
Yep.
make sure that.
All of our in-car and body worn systems are cross-compatible. So say we're not making our 1st generation DVRs anymore, and we're not even sending them out. If somebody has a DVR that goes bad, we send them our brand new 3rd gen DVR, no charge for it. And they're all cross-compatible. All our systems, all Microsoft Windows based. We don't have any proprietary software. So when you need something new, it operates on a very common operating system. It's very easy to integrate. Yeah, we are the easy button for IT. We just need a port to send the data traffic through and up to the cloud, and that's it.
So how much storage do we get? And is it gonna be enough? Because we all of a sudden have run across other areas and all of a sudden we're ending up with extra costs.
So we never charge overage fees. We have an end user license agreement that we put together for the data storage. I decide when I first came to talk to you guys, we talked about the amount of calls per service. I have a rudimentary, I'm retired law enforcement. I spent 23 years in law enforcement. I retired in 2022. So I kind of got a handle on things. So we did a formula I did after I left. Here's how I think you guys are gonna need for data storage. So for the body cameras, we did 60 gigs per month. That'll run about 22 shifts of an average 8 to 10 hour shift with average activity. And it's pooled. So for every device, every body cam has 60 gigs of data per month. It's pooled. So if one deputy doesn't use as much, another deputy can use the overage, and it rolls over month to month. None of that really matters because we don't charge overage fees. Because I told the sheriff here to save money, I'm not going to do unlimited on your body cams. We require unlimited on the in-car video because it's running 2 to 3 cameras and bringing in a lot more data at a higher resolution.
The code and Iowa law and stuff like that, how long do you have to retain?
It depends on the case. If it's a simple traffic stop warning, we could probably technically delete it, but right now it's pretty much for everything simple. For our body cam, it's 13 months. There's a policy to retain that unless it's a more serious thing. We can protect that and keep it forever.
But another advantage of ours compared to some of our competitors, it is Microsoft Windows based. So if there's something, a big case with a ton of video, I got a homicide at one of my agencies in Minnesota, in the Twin Cities area. They took all those body cams and all that in-car system, and it's just MP4 files, got all the metadata, and download it to a encrypted hard drive, and they took it and put it in their evidence room just to be doubly safe. But those are things too, if you're keeping, but you can always leave it on the cloud as well. But that's another advantage if you say, this is, you guys said this is a solution for you guys, and we run a 5-year contract with you, and at the end you say, hey, I'm gonna go to this other company, they better suit us. There's no charge to get your data back either, where our competitors charge to get your data back. You can just download it. IT can take a Microsoft Windows-based device, and we use a transfer box, and we download the data of that with Microsoft. We're on Microsoft Government Azure Cloud. Bring that data box over here. They would just download whatever device they want to keep it on permanently here. And the data box is just leased. They give you a 10-day window to do that with.
I think you two did all the legwork on there, investigating what else is available out there for other companies. We might rely on your recommendation to know what the best fit our needs and cost. So is that what you came up with this company here?
This, and I did Axon too, and they were extremely, I think the cheapest quote for kind of what I think it was for 3 years, it was about 250,000. It went up from there. Looked in, we've used GTech computers for
8 years.
8 years at least. Yeah, at least 8 years.
Yeah.
Always been a good product. Reached out to other departments that already have this system or some of the older generations. The customer service has always, they've talked about the customer service, haven't had to use it a lot, but when they have to, they're very accommodating and fix the issues if there are issues with what they had. And like I said, we already have purchased GTech computers. Everything kind of runs together through that system instead of having multiple different systems. So me personally, and I'm sure with Jason, things that we already have existing that's been working really well at a cheaper cost than what I've gathered is something that, as far as the sheriff's office, would like to utilize this system, I guess, from the information we've gathered.
And we know law enforcement is 24/7. Is there any problem if something happens to the system, anything that they could get immediate assistance from a technician 24/7?
Yes, our warranty is and support is 24/7, 365. Again, it's based out of Bloomington, Minnesota. Most of our competitors have third-party call answerers in foreign countries to diagnose and kind of triage you, and you wait till morning to get a tech from the company, if you can get a tech from the company. Ours is, it's like I said, it's all based in here in the United States. One thing that I feel is an asset, not bragging, but I'm in Des Moines and 2 hours away. They both have my personal cell phone number. I think you guys, I hope you both say I've been responsive. You know, if I don't answer the phone immediately, I call right back. I'm not a sport guy. I'm the dumbest guy in the room when I'm sitting with all of our smart people, but I can twist arms and make stuff happen as fast as it needs to as well.
My experience with GTech support's been pretty good, especially with the laptops. If a handle breaks or hard drive goes out, we usually get overnighted the part. So it's been pretty
Good
good.
service.
Mhm.
Did you have any questions, Keith?
Yeah, are we looking at replacing the entire fleet, or are there units that are still operating well enough that would be to buy another 1 or 2 years within the 5-year warranty? What's the philosophy behind?
We had to replace the entire fleet, specifically the body cams, because the company that made them doesn't make them anymore. So we even reached out to eBay to try and find used ones. In our local office town here in Independence, they tried to find used ones. They found one, and we cycled that one in, and that's being used now. But even finding any more, they said they just don't exist.
Yeah, fair enough. Thank you.
Sorry, he didn't have the history on that, did you?
No,
Sorry, and
Oh, yeah.
the body
Yeah.
cams and car cams are the same company.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, they don't make those anymore either.
Yeah.
They got Band-Aid, and I got 2 that really, my one needs totally replaced.
But one body cam's held together with glue right now.
So you're talking about getting this in your budget. So how are we gonna limp along for
No.
nothing? You
You're
know,
gonna do ARPA funds with this?
I was,
That was the initial plan.
I was looking to, yeah, to utilize ARPA funds for this. I know we looked at trying to like prorate it out. And if we do that, it's obviously cheaper per year, but in the long run, you're saving yourself about 17,000 doing the 5 year, paying for it all up front, having the 5 year warranty, the support. That would be about the cost of another year of
Cloud storage.
fee for the 6 year.
so total cost here,
195, 611, 72.
go with that again, Chris.
195, 611.72. Currently, you have 281,788.92 left in ARPA that has not been spoken for.
Okay.
That ARPA, that includes like that. Gina
That
still,
has not been spoken for.
That is-
There's funds still in there that's been spoken for that has not been used yet.
well, I think it's a very good reasoning here to go ahead and,
Well, we've gotta keep up with technology, we've gotta keep up the equipment. We can't 12 months from now go, oh crap, we should have
Yeah.
bought them all.
or something bad happens
Yeah.
here in another month or something like that, or 2 months.
Well, another perk of this is the car cams, correct me if I'm wrong, have the license plate detection system in them.
Yep.
Which we can then run against a hot sheet that the state would provide for outstanding warrants or
And I
terrorism or whatever it is, if they have a warrant out for their arrest.
know, I do have transparent, the quote for that LPR service is not in here because it's not ready yet. It'll probably be like Q2, but it's not gonna
Okay.
be prohibitive. I would guess it's probably something that you could easily fund out of like an operations budget.
Okay.
If we do this, is there any way to start saving toward a system later? I mean, I can't imagine, so in 5 years, we're gonna look at another $200,000 or I mean, I don't know, but is there,
Well,
it's
with
just a
that,
big jump in our budget.
capital.
The problem with government and finances, you can't have a savings. So he could not budget an additional $20,000 each year and keep it back for a project like this. Once the fiscal year is turned, that money goes in to the fund balance.
But they can, like, I know city government can because he saved.
Well,
4 days on
then
the year.
you can talk to the auditors, but in the past, unless you pull out some
What about that capital,
See, that's what we started a fund when Cindy was still here.
that's a fund.
So,
So what you could do is you could always throw 20,000 like in the capital projects fund. But then once it comes time to spend your $150,000 or $190,000, that still has to go into the budget. Even though your fund may have 200,000 in it, that still has to go into the budget.
So you just need a budget resolution then.
It still has to be budgeted for, just like,
Right, but you have like the revenue, you already have the revenue there for it.
yes.
yeah, you got heads.
So it's something. Yeah, it's something you could put into that capital projects fund as a set aside for 5 years down the road, as long as it doesn't get spent anything else. But when it comes time to actually purchase that, that has to be budgeted for under the capital projects.
I know when we first started that, this hadn't happened in your department with the phone system. That was when Buchanan was still here. We had to have come up with 200 and some $1,000 because the phone system needed replacement. You know, wasn't in the budget or nothing.
right?
That's when we thought, we gotta do something here. We gotta build some funds here for this. Technology fund.
Wasn't it?
Yeah.
That also included the G-Tech and the initial, like the previous generation G-Tech laptops was in that. So that was the phone system and the laptops at the time.
My recommendation would be to proceed and use the ARPA funds.
Is that a motion?
That is a motion.
And I will second that motion.
All right, I have a first and second to use ARPA funds for this. All in favor? Aye. Motion carries.
And so the total amount that you folks want in the resolution would be 195,611.72. That would include the original bid of 187,876.72 plus the
Installation,
77.35 for the upfitting, correct?
Correct.
does that match up with you guys?
Yeah.
And you, sir?
Yes, sir.
All right.
So we could have to take squad units down to Carl, have them switched out.
I know right now we have two down there being upfitted or in the process of getting upfitted. They know that we're kind of obviously the process of they're getting approved or trying to figure something out.
Mhm.
I'm assuming this equipment's gonna take a while to get in to start implementing this, but, my goal is like for those two, instead of tearing out from the old and putting in the old and then doing it over again, maybe if they can like pre-wire, with the current upfittings for these, is my goal. And I've already touched base with them a little bit to see if we can get the wires ran and, two down there that are getting upfitted instead of paying for it twice. Paying for them to put the old system in and paying for getting the old system taken back out again, so.
What would be the projected ETA on the hardware?
It doesn't matter to me either way.
Mm.
End of the year, we compress our shipping schedule to try to get everything out. And so if sheriff would sign this quote by end of day tomorrow, I could have your equipment to you at the end of December. In other words, it'd be the next shipping cycle. And if your cars are done by then, no problem putting wiring harnesses in and running all the stuff and having it pre-wired. So it's just plug and play, when you get the hardware on the two that are sitting down.
Yeah. Now would that stuff be sent to Carl's?
Yep, wherever you want it, your designation. I mean, we can, it's up to you guys. Yeah, we'll ship it wherever. And included in this, just for your guys, is kind of something that we do that are, so there's kind of three big competitors in my areas, GTAC, Motorola, and Axon. We send out, in this quote, it's included, we send out one of our solutions architect, our engineers for the deployment. So they come out on site with Carl's, they commission all the devices ahead of time, sometimes remotely, depending on working with IT, the DVRs, the body cams, everything. They train everybody that needs trained. That can be IT, sheriff's department, administrative staff, jail staff, how to use the system. And they don't leave until everything's working and everybody's trained as well. And I just say all that to, because when we deploy, they're a great asset to have on site to make sure it gets done quickly and the right way.
So everything's compatible. I mean, you got some Fords, you got some Chevys, I mean,
Yeah.
everything.
Yep.
Why do we have Chevys?
Yeah, we just did a Ford Fusion for a county hospital to do prisoner transport, or medical prisoner transport, so we can put them in about anything, so. We do fire trucks. I have city buses running in some states with our systems in them for liability reasons. Yeah, our engineers can work with Carl's for about anything.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, folks.
Great, guys. Thank you.
Nice to meet everybody.
Thanks.
Bill Evan was here. There's dog hair all over it. Jeez.
Discussion regarding first aid kits. So, kind of came to my attention, brought to my attention by our janitorial staff. That some of these Band-Aids, when we're moving stuff around upstairs, we need to have Band-Aids, so I think safety used to. We used to have kits and safety would go around and stock them all, and then that ended, and everybody's supposed to get their own kits. How do you guys want to do this?
Having a company come in and do that is extremely expensive. Like UniFirst and all those. I've had that periodically in my business career,
Right?
and I think it should be up to each department to maintain their own first aid kit.
Okay.
I think secondary roads is a prime example. I think, in conservation stuff, they, take care of their own thing.
Right.
Chris, do you guys even have a first aid kit?
Yeah.
In your office?
Sure do. It's in the hallway closet down there.
I got one.
Well, there you go. One's all, should all you need.
I had some use of Band-Aids when I was in here Saturday because I had a paper cut.
Yeah, I think the department heads can take that over,
All right,
or their designee.
okay.
You wanna put that in a motion just so I have it in the minutes? I think you're saying,
Make a motion that the department heads are responsible for maintaining first aid kits for their department.
Second,
First, second, all in favor?
Aye.
thank
All
you.
right. Transfer the railroad right away to Don Thingman. Did you get a hold of Don?
yes, I did. He is, spoke to Don Fangman and, he would like to, he's all in favor of having this property that he's been maintaining, taking care of, and been surrounded by his farm ground for many, many years. As we all know, this is the old railroad line that somehow got into deeded to the county when it was no longer being used and stuff, and so something that in the beginning should have been reverted back to the landowner. But it never happened that way. And Mr. Fangman's all in favor of that and getting it back, and then he'll paying property taxes on that ground in the future. And he agreed to what was ordinary fees, costs and stuff for doing transfer of the property and stuff. He said he's all willing to take care of that.
Good.
So our assistant county attorney has got everything drawn up for that transfer. And I think we all had a chance to review that, and I didn't see nothing wrong with that, the way that was wrote up, the deed and everything, so
Great, so we just need to get him, Mr. Thingman in and
get it transferred and
get it recorded.
get it signed and recorded and get it back in private hands, so the county will be collecting property taxes. That property. Cause it's absolutely no use to the county to have ownership of that property whatsoever.
Well, yeah. Look at, yeah, there's no way to even survey that off. Just looking at the shape of it, it's like,
Yeah.
it's nuts.
Yeah. So I'm,
So the expenses for like the recording the documents and all that is going to be split between the county and Mr. Fangman, is that how it's?
what's ordinary cost splits?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay, just the magic word fees.
yeah.
I'll come up with something.
So I'll make a motion to go ahead and transfer ownership of that property. It's located down, I don't have the legal description in front of me right now. We can get that to you, Chris? So you can put that in the minutes.
I should have it somewhere. And I'm gonna have to try and come up, I'll probably do it by resolution.
Yeah, and the
Um,
deed, that's all in the deed that Josh, from the attorney's office.
Yep.
It's all, he's got that all described out in there.
Okay, yeah, I'll come up with a resolution, and once I get that done, Dawn, I'll get it to you to sign.
Okay, sounds good.
We will call on that then.
Please and thank you.
All right, so we did you made the motion,
Yes, I did.
a second?
Second,
All right, roll call vote.
Kurt's eye.
Vogel, aye. Or aye, there we go.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, discuss restoration quote for courthouse roof deficiencies.
Okay, well, this all started on, it's just been an ongoing thing for years. The water leakage in the auditor's office. And we all know there's very important documents that are maintained and held in that office, and we can't have the ceiling and leakage in that office. We gotta take care of it, it's also causing destruction to our building, so I had Service Roofing come in, they found a whole, damage in an area and they patched that, the only thing they could find, we had leakage after that. So, had, Restoration Services Incorporated out of Waterloo. And they were recommended company from Larson Construction to have come in and review and look at what's going on up there. And they found some cause up there in the walls with the tuck pointing and stuff, with leakages coming through. And it makes sense because when we got any kind of an east wind and it rained, this is when it happens. So we got a proposal from him, from Restoration Services. And we know that because of moisture coming in, we've had troubles in the courtroom and different areas and stuff. I think it's been a few years back that we had kind of tuck pointing in here, and I think it's time to do another evaluation of our walls and tuck pointing and window sealing and stuff to protect our building. So, what he's got for a proposal here is to bring in an 80-foot boom, 2 men for a day, and the materials to repair the south wall on the roof. And to go ahead and do an investigation for other deficiencies on the building. And come up with an accurate pricing for the repair. Cost to do all this was $3,300. And I think we all know that to protect a commercial building that's brick and stuff and tuck pointed seals is very important to make sure that the envelope is very well sealed.
Well, if you get water behind the brick, then eventually it's gonna freeze and thaw and you get some freeze and thaw cycles on it, then you're gonna end up with building collapse.
Right. So we need to do our due diligence to protect our building. And
So
I-
basically, they're gonna evaluate it, there's not fixing anything.
Well, now they will be doing the repair that they've already identified the water leakage
Right,
above her
but
area.
all the tuck pointing and everything, they're gonna give a quote.
Yeah, and they'll come back with an accurate pricing on that once they come in there with the boom, the 2 guys, and do a complete assessment of our exterior. So, there again, where's $3,300 come from?
I know.
But I think it's very important. We gotta protect our courthouse building.
In all reality, with the leak that's been going on in my office, I know it's been going on since 2016. And I spoke with Maureen about it because she's our most seasoned employee. And she's been here 20+ years and she says as long as she can remember, it's been leaking. But it's to the point, and shame on me, I should have done it in November when we got that, when my ballots got damp. But if we're getting hard rain out of the east, I drop what I'm doing and come in and cover everything with plastic. And now it's gotten to the point, instead of just the one leak behind Tammy's desk, it also leaks in my office.
Yeah, we gotta address it, take care of it, period. So I don't know where we're at in maintenance funding for courthouse and
Well,
stuff.
the
I
problem
think we
is with,
exhausted that.
well, for the capital projects part, that's all gone. So I would say either A, your options are to, and Ann and I can do some calculating, it's, we could go ahead and pay it out of that line item, but there will have to be a budget amendment. Or take it out of your ARPA, you still got ARPA in there, not a whole lot, but you still got it. And then as far as whatever he finds possibly for other repairs that need done, he'll have to budget it and hopefully then we can get him in this summer to get it done.
I'm thinking, my idea is just, if we need to do a budget amendment, we'll just do it.
Yeah.
So I'll make a motion, I'd like to make a motion, we go ahead and put this proposal and have Restoration Services come in and do the full service.
I would second that.
And the
Do you
amount
have any
of
questions on that?
How much was it?
3,300, Is that that's what we're looking at, right? Okay, I have it. I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Alright. So first and second, all in favor?
All right,
Aye.
Motion carries. All right. Discuss budget workshop time.
Nobody's gonna speak up.
Somebody go.
I'm gonna speak up. I think it's worked out. I know it puts us on crunch. But it's always been done in January, and I think it's important to make sure that whoever's elected is new supervisor, because we'll be working on the budget affecting their term period. And whoever, the cycle, the 1 year, one person cycle for supervisor, I can't imagine bringing anybody in. They need to be on top of things and have a say so on this, because that's why they were elected for that position. And taking care of the budget is one of the number one priority duties of a supervisor.
Well,
And if, until they're sworn in, they can interject and talk about it and things, but to actually have a say so or vote. And we've always when we went through these lines, the supervisors have always discussed certain lines and when we were talking about with the department head, and came to a consensus to adjusting that expense line. And I think the new supervisor needs to be involved, and I just think it needs to stay with the January timeline. And I know there's other counties that do it differently, but I don't agree with them counties doing it that way.
I want to speak up because I'm the one that brought this up. Okay, hey, number one, once we get all of our budget worksheets back from our departments, as we make copies for you three, I was also going to make copies for Mr. Whelan incoming. The whole reason of trying to get this started early is because we cram within 2 weeks, all these department heads. Nothing is officially decided until we have the public hearings and I get the A-OK from you guys. It is a long, drawn out process that takes me months. And if there's any way we can get a jump start, I guess call me selfish, but I would prefer not to work weekends through December and January. On a supervisor's budget, that's not my responsibility. I know public health has theirs done. Conservation has theirs done. Dawn just turned hers in. Okay, there's 3. Could we possibly hit a few of them ahead of time? I'm not asking for everything to be done in December because in all reality, that's not, could not happen.
Right.
But if there's just a few of them we could meet with, we could do it during a regular meeting. We could do it after a regular meeting. We can go to according to your guys' schedules. But there's no decisions made regarding the budget. Yes, there is some lines adjusted, whether it be utilities or a project they may want, but nothing is finalized. That is why I asked if we could have a few of these in December.
what I was hoping for was, because we have a whole combined 2 years of experience. So what I was hoping for, Clayton, was to have Keith come in along with this and to have you here for a couple of them, because you do have the experience and the knowledge. You've done this for 8 years. I mean, that was my thought process on it.
So how many we got? Good, how many's been turned in, Chris, to you? You said our supervisor one, and then the general services, right? You did do that one too?
Yeah, I did that.
Yeah, she sent them to me.
Yeah, I picked up 4:15 on a Saturday morning and did them.
Yes,
If you could get them to me and John to review.
yes. And I just got them this morning. I literally opened up the email. I have not received public health and conservation yet, but they have both told me that theirs are done.
The thing about it is, and then there's 2 that, because they've got their own boards.
You have a say.
Right, we have a say on approving their budget.
Correct.
But I think them would be 2 that would work better for early on that because their board, individual boards have already reviewed them and they know best what their plans are and what they want to do. So I guess I would be okay with them two for sure. Because that's something that's already been reviewed by their own individual boards and stuff and.
And I guess I have mine done.
And
except
they
for the
work and
wages.
then
Because of the
maybe
comp board.
in the elected officials, you know, like
Mhm.
you and Gina and.
I think they're
Michelle.
all, if I recall, they're all supposed to be turned in to me this week. Whether I
But-
get them
Yeah.
this week.
But as far as the main one, as far as, and we could get Brian in right away for, in January,
That one's a monster.
yeah. And make sure we,
I will not
Delegate
give you my
enough time for that.
personal comments on that one, because you guys all know very well.
Yeah.
I think it's really critical that Keith is involved.
I do too.
Because that was the learning process that Dawn and I went through, because by going through those pretty much line by line, it makes you really understand it. Plus, it's a good opportunity for him to meet with the department heads.
Mhm.
as they're going through them lines, you're explaining, you're getting a good idea what their department does and their responsibilities, what they've got going on for contractors and expenses and stuff. It's a really good learning experience for anybody new. So, I mean, I guess I'll say, okay, you know, if we could do those two, departments that got their own individual boards, if we can do them in and maybe ours here with.
Well, and isn't emergency management and.
Emergency
911,
management,
it's very similar.
I believe theirs is done also, don't quote me on
No,
it, but
they're
I'm,
not done yet.
oh, Rick was in the other day and said he had his
Well, they
done.
still have to get we still have to get that through the board though.
Oh, I see, okay.
She would have yours ready, Chris. I think.
Yeah, I have mine done except for the salaries because of the comp board, but that's this week,
Right.
so.
And that's the thing, so until we get done working with these these labor contracts, we're not gonna go on lowering somebody's salaries, you know.
Well,
They're gonna be hanging kind of limbo on that until.
yeah, and we probably shouldn't finish that labor contract until after Keith is sworn in, because he does need to be part of that, because it's something he has to deal with.
Well, in all reality, until that is finalized, the sheriff and secondary roads cannot complete their budget.
Right, exactly. Yeah, that's why we,
And those are two of the biggest
and I
budgets. in
think
the county.
are we still on target to
17th.
start working on the 17th on that?
Yes,
Start getting a good feel of what we're gonna have.
But maybe we need to bring Keith into this conversation too, because it's his schedule that we're kind of talking about.
well, if you, I guess I would need dates with all four of you. That would work for, and Griffin's on listening. As far as meeting with those,
Mhm.
and then I need to reach out to them to see what their availability is.
I kind of like, I always, and I think most supervisors would always kind of, Mondays kind of not schedule anything, and I know I don't have any big, a lot of times I don't have outside meetings in my other boards and commissions on Mondays that are falling on other days and stuff like that. If we could have something maybe right after our meetings starting.
Well, it can be on, it can be an agenda item on the regular meeting. It's just that there's not gonna be any action taken.
Yeah, I would like to try and, because I got a lot of things I'm doing in my own personal life, scheduling things, my commitments and stuff that I got going on, and I'm trying to stay away from Mondays with all that. So how Mondays work for you, Keith, come in and listen in,
I'm available, so this is a priority.
okay?
Anytime.
John?
Yeah, I never have anything, I try not to have anything on Mondays, so I should be available.
Let me look.
I'm waiting for some phone calls and 4 other appointments for me today. I should hear back. And I'm definitely staying away from Mondays with them.
And the only Monday that might not work would be the 23rd. I might be gone.
won't even be here for a meeting.
Well, if I can get everybody on schedule, if we could do it like on the 16th, because that's gonna give us time, because like I said, I haven't got those budgets back. And they all gotta go into the financial software yet.
Can we pick up any on the
On the
9th?
16th.
One or two or not?
If, yeah, I can check with the other department heads. And I know I would have mine done by the 9th, because mine will be decided after the comp board.
Let's try and do a couple on the 9th, couple on the 16th.
Okay, so let's just plan this. How about if I contact the department heads involved and try and get a couple scheduled for the 9th following, or at the end of the regular meeting, and then for the 16th for any other ones, that would work.
Sounds good.
And I'll just keep you on the emails.
Yeah. I'm available.
And so when these budget sheets, I'll show you what, you'll get a nice book. That's gonna look something like this.
But you gotta put it together yourself.
Yeah, I'm not that nice. I'll print them off for you, but I'm not putting your books together.
He needs a new folder, cause mine is shot.
There's about
got mine-
100 of them upstairs.
I got
Yeah,
mine,
lots of-
I got mine taped to hold it together.
Yep, that's fine. I'll see that part's taken care of for him. And once I start getting them printed, I'll probably just shoot you an email or something. So if you're in town, you can stop up and grab them.
Thank you.
Yeah, so if we could do something after those meetings. and
Okay.
Pick up one or two in the morning or early afternoon, that would be great.
We got a plan. We're down to public comments.
Got one real quick.
Okay.
So this fall, when you guys met with John Evers regarding our property insurance, and you know how we changed the deductibles and then we were splitting out payments. I got the invoice. You guys knew it was coming. $32,000. I'm shaking that tree, but I'll come up with something. But I just wanted to let you know. I mean,
What was
chances,
it last year?
What can we do to reduce that?
there's nothing we can do.
No.
This is when you guys changed everything around and basically they prorated premiums and
For the due dates.
yep, so chances are it could possibly be a budget amendment in our risk assessment line. But this is something that was made, a decision you guys made last fall. I just wanted to let you know that that will be paid the next time. So when you see it on the claim sheets, you just aren't like, what is this?
The only thing we was able to do a lot of that, we worked on the amount of the deductibles, but that didn't change the bottom line premium as much as we thought it would.
Yeah, and then we had damage after we moved the deductibles too, didn't we? All right, anything else? Got something?
Sir, when you come up, if you give your name and your address and everything, that would be great.
And watch out, back gates are.
Yeah, it just makes it hard.
It's just, it's already tough spring.
Aaron Stacy Roberts. I live at 411 Almond Street in Waterloo, Iowa.
Okay.
What brings me up today is basically the last 6 words I'm going to play is liberty and justice for all. In the matter of the Marionette Harris estate, which is farmland that my family owned since the late 30s, it was sold without family members getting notice to appeal the sale, nor did we sign what it says in the court records, which is a family settlement agreement. And first of all, I want to go back before the sale of the farm. And I don't want it to appear that I feel that any of you folks have anything to do with the criminal organization that allowed that sale to go through and what forced it through with threats and intimidation.
Sir, could you repeat now, tell us so they know, they're 2 new supervisors, so
Yeah,
they know
I know.
the location of this property, so they know the location of it.
The last, when I got the address for it, it hadn't had an address for over 50 years. When I got the electric turned on, and the address is 1016 160th Street in Fairbanks, Iowa. It's in the matter of the estate here in the clerk's office, in the estate of Mary, M-A-R-Y, Net, N-E-T-T-E, Marionette Harris. And the case number is ESPR 006-003. And when I say a criminal organization, I look at what it took for the land to be sold without me or 26 other heirs getting a notice to appeal, nor did we know the land was for sale. The first indication that I got that it was something they had plans on taking the land, and the way they did was Tom Bagsby, who was out of Dunkerton, Iowa. He was renting the land back in the late 90s, early 2000s, and it was when Dunkerton girls went to the state championship in basketball. I happened to went down to watch the girls because my family is from Dunkerton. My father was raised over at that farm. He went to school in Jessup, went to school in Dunkerton. So I'm living in Des Moines. I went to watch the girls. I happened to see Tom Bagsby, and he got to talking to me, and I said, "Man, my aunt has been going through some problems. Samela, she won't give me a key. She's got me landlocked from my own land." And he asked me, he said, "Do you want a key? I got a key. I'll give it to you." And I said, "No, I don't want a key from you. I want a key from her because she'll still try to say that I'm wrong for being there." During that conversation, Tom Bagsby told me we have a plan to have that land in the next 10 years anyway. And that kind of struck me because my father had told me people had been wanting to take the land, get the land from us. Prior to him telling me that, and I want to say it was 2000 or 2001, there's a case 9914612 out of Urbandale, Iowa. In that case, and I do believe, I hate to tie it in because it's two different cases, but when I say criminal organization and the way it went down, I know it didn't happen just from Buchanan County. So in that case, a person went in the restroom with my then 11-year-old daughter, stuck his finger in her vagina and said, "Tell your daddy he no longer has $500,000, and if you tell your mother, we're going to kill her." That was in 99. Like I said, 2000, 2001, when I seen Tom Bagsby. Once I seen that with that going on, and I'm seeing that there's moves being made on the farm by one of my aunts, Samala McDonald, and I came to Steve Hempke during this time to work for the Buchanan County. So this is where I feel Buchanan County came in, and I didn't get liberty and justice, but I got benign neglect and failure to act. I notified Steve Hempke that my aunt had committed criminal fraudulent concealment on the family and the corpse when she filed that, not listing all of the heirs. What happened after that is a list of, I just want to read off a few of them that makes me understand why Samala and Janet acted the way they acted. I was getting threats after what happened to my daughter. I'm going to read a few and go back just 3 of them. There was text before and text after. The text I got on October 27th of 2015, 6:48 a.m. The reason I'm reading these texts is to let you know the pressure I was under, and they didn't want my farmland. My signature couldn't give them the farm, but my signature should have been on it. The text messages referred to what happened to my daughter, which was, no, this was before that. This was the text that I got. "How about we cut the head off your new granddaughter you got, Aaron?" These are text messages I was getting. The next one, November 10th, "We will walk right in the house and put 4 in your head, nigga." This is before the sale of the farm.
Who's sending the text though?
I have no idea. I went to the Waterloo police. Once again, failure to even investigate them. I called, one of the numbers was coming out of Dallas, Texas. I called the Dallas police. They told me Waterloo police had to communicate with them in order for this case to go on. The same thing that the Independence police is telling me about the fraud in the case with the farm. I'm telling him there's fraud there. He said, "I need Waterloo to contact me so we can get together." He's acknowledging that. September 27th of 2014. This is before the farm is sold. "You say this God watches over you. Where was he the day in the bathroom?" He was referring to case 9944612. Years later, "We could have taken her that day. She would have never been found. Not my God." This is the kind of communications that I'm getting. So what I'm trying to figure out is why would my aunt have sold this farm without contacting us, without having a family meeting? Because even if we disagreed what it should have happened then, was it should have been a partition action, which is when the judge decides y'all can't come together on what you want to do with the farm and sold. But first and foremost is when the land was sold. Without that, we should have signed. We should have received a notice to appeal, and then we should have signed a family settlement agreement for the farm to be sold. In the court records you have in this courthouse, it says we all did do that, and we didn't. And I know it's, like I said, not this body. This came from Kellyanne LaCarr, who was the judge. At the same time, when I went to report the criminal activity to Kellyanne LaCarr, this is two other papers that I do want you to have, because this is something that every judge after 2008 and anyone that purchased that land or sold that land should have known. And what I notified the court then was in 2008, in chicken scratch, I did that on purpose so it would stand out like a sore thumb. And I explained to the courts, fraudulent concealment, she's leaving out the air, she's trying to sell the property. This was ahead of it. I had also been talking to Steve Hemke, the county attorney here, the sheriff in Waterloo, the sheriff here. And what I got was benign neglect and failure to act, which allowed the land to be sold to the National Heritage Foundation. And what's his name? Joseph McGovern, who signed for the land for the National Heritage Foundation, should have known that the signatures were not there. So when I became the administrator, I got the estate opened back up. I became the administrator. I went to the Iowa National Heritage Foundation to let them know I didn't sign, 26 other heirs have not signed, and this sale was not legitimate. The next thing I know, Buchanan County owns the land. So you all own the land now. And when you purchase the land, whoever done the purchase for you should have seen this letter right here. And they should have pretty much immediately notified law enforcement. After just this letter, this chicken scratch. I did this on purpose. I was in Black Hawk County Jail on probably something related to this criminal act, because all I've been doing since '99 is trying to find out what happened with my daughter. And it was reported with the Urbandale police. She got an exam, Blank Children's Hospital. This isn't something I'm trying to report. This is something they failed to investigate. I'm trying to get them investigated. Now, what has happened since then, like I said, is the farm has been sold wrongfully. Understand the machine or the criminal organization. Someone say it's a machine or it's a criminal organization. And I understand how they're acting. What I am here for is I have a court date on January 6th, here again. And I have gotten at least three motions to continue I've had to file myself. Because now what my problem is when I go to an attorney, we don't want to fight the county, they have too much money, but y'all got leaky rules. So see, this is what I'm getting. I'm getting a runaround with who my enemy is, and I know it's not the county. I believe in my heart with the way my grandparents were treated here in the late 30s. My grandfather was a part of the riot. He's the one that started it. He had to kill a man in order to go to work. They got it for self-defense. But when I look at history, it was white folks in that community that held that farm in my grandparents' name. You understand? They did a lot for my grandparents. It's documented. I know this. So my problem is not this body, but I see the state as being both of our problems, and they won't even help you get a roof on. Food for thought. In Waterloo, I'm with a group, the 415 Collective. We're trying to put together an old historical church. They have emergency funds for buildings that have been condemned for 20 years. You all could get some money for your roof. You might need to get a grant writer and go get it. Another thing that I like about the library, one thing you need to do is get tutoring, free tutoring in each one of those libraries for children, and that will be a good plus. So I look at a broader thing. I see that this is not my enemy. This is going to be my help in getting that land back where it's supposed to be. So I'm not coming here as like I'm upset with you, but I do want you to know what was going on before, during, and after, what's still going on, because I am still getting threats. You know, and it's just the threats will never go away because of one thing they planted in my head 20 years ago. I was getting threatening. It was, nigga, we gonna kill you on the telephone before '99 when they did that to my daughter. Did the county up here know anything about it? No, I don't believe so. Did people fail to act who should have been acting? Yes. So there is, you hold some responsibility, and I'm not talking about you, you weren't here. But there is some responsibility up here when I was
County
telling,
attorney should.
when I was telling Mr. Hipkey during that time, and every person I met with since then, I had a 2-hour meeting during COVID with the guy, so that would put that time frame there. And this is one other one that I would like for you to get. And then what I'm asking you to do is just take a look at what's going on and how we got here. Because the last attorney I talked to told me that for $10,000, he could take a look at it. But I don't have the money, just like you don't have the money for the roof. The number one thing is, to tell you the honest to God truth, is more the county, Buchanan County employees' fault that I'm having to fight this battle by not acting back in 2008. So I'm just here trying to put a light on it, on what's going on. And I'll tell you another thing is, this is very much a public safety matter, because my family has been at war with each other, and I got a cousin named Keith. There's a Blackhawk County case where at my Uncle Charles Roberts' funeral, they got to fighting over his sister not giving him his part of the money from the farm at my uncle's funeral. I mean, and they ended up in the courtroom over this, and they got cases behind it. There's another case in here. There's 2 other things I want to let you know. There's a check in here that was wrote to Charles Roberts. You can see it down here. The check was for $20,100 and some change. In the final report that you have, it says the check was wrote for $22,100 or $200. So $1,100 difference. There was money that was stolen. One check was wrote to a Michael Ford. Michael Ford didn't even know he was my cousin until we were sitting in this courtroom after I hired the lady, Valerie Kramer, to get the estate opened back up and made me the administrator. I said, Michael, how could you not know you're a family member and you got a check? Come to find out, he never received a check. His check was cashed in Montesino, Nevada. We still don't know who cashed his check. So I'm coming to the right people. All of this took place right here. So I'm coming to the sheriff's office, as well as Blackhawk County, and I haven't got one person to investigate the criminal part of it. That's why I say I'm not getting liberty and justice, due process, or equal and fair protection under law. I'm not getting it, and it's also up here. And like I want to reiterate and go back to 99 with that event. It didn't have anything to do with this farm, but it became a part of it. It's part of the force why a person would do what my aunt did. She cheated every one of her kinfolks, her nieces, nephews, brothers, and sisters out of money, sold land without them even being a part of the process, when she knew that the land had been divided in 13 different sections. There's a map. The Hillmans did it, and she didn't honor it because she was under coercion. And that's what I'm here for. I don't know where we need to go from here.
Right.
I have been trying to get law enforcement to look into it. So if you can do something to assist that, my phone number is 319 883 0462. And I do want to say that I'm very much new. Before 99, I was entailed with spiritual warfare. And I'm a very firm believer in my Heavenly Father, and I'm seeing his work that he can do. Out of the 3 people who have participated in this, Janet Primer, James Wagner, and when I filed a motion about the judge doing wrong, Judge Caddy, Supreme Court, all 3 of them are dead now. So my enemies shouldn't want to stand in front of this. And I know you're not my enemy, but we need to get this cleaned up for everybody. In this, at the very beginning, what I'm holding on to is the message given to my daughter in the bathroom. She's 11 years old. And that was John Deere money that my father worked for Deere and Company. That's why I was looking for life insurance money and stock. So I'm letting you know what this criminal organization is a part of, and we need to dismantle it for our own children, because to be quite honest, it ain't no more black land for them to take. They'll do the same thing the white folks make. Y'all have a good day.
So sir, to make things clear here, you are not at this time seeking anything from the board. You just want to make us aware of what happened history-wise.
And then if there's anything that you can do to rectify what has happened, you have stolen property. Now, I'm gonna tell you a good way to get it back. Janet Primer is dead. Her estate is still alive. Eugene Harris and Deanna Harris who signed, as well as the attorney, and number one, Joseph McGovern, the purchaser. They can come up with your money. That's why he sold you the land. The land got hot around him, and not just around him, around everyone he loved. Like I said, it's entailed in spiritual warfare. And I see God answer my prayer. They put heat on my family. Those are in my prayers to return that. And it got real hot around him. I lived in Des Moines for 19 years. I knew the National Historical Foundation before they purchased the land. It was probably me looking at them and seeing that's a pretty good idea that made that criminal organization make them purchase it. Because when I went to them, like I said, the lady told me they didn't follow protocol. They did not use their lawyer to do it. The president signed and did everything. No lawyer would have put his signature on this other than James Wagner, because he was already a crook. He had already been disbarred. And I know that I came here to give you information. What I want is my land returned. And what I want to do is pay great taxes, because I have good ideals, as you'll see, what I was telling my cousin Deanna. You know, my family had been planning on putting a catfish farm out there, my Aunt Rella. There's cousins in there who have been paying the taxes. Tim Roberts, that's Rella Roberts' son. If anybody would have had the right to sell the farm, it should have been him. He worked at Deere and paid the taxes for years when my father wouldn't, or decided he wasn't going to keep paying on by himself. They shared on paying the taxes. So that's how the farm stayed there. Janet Primer and Sam Allen never came out of their pocket. The only thing they did was play the part in selling the property. They're a part of that criminal organization. And if it was my mother, I would say the same thing. My father taught me since I was a little kid out there. When he taught me how to hunt, we'd find arrowheads out there. My whole life I've been out there. And he also told me there's an element that wants this farm away from us. And I'd be damned if they didn't get it. I'm talking about with me doing everything I could do. I did everything except for file a less penance, because they had already sold it before I knew it.
That's a property out there, kind of north, a little bit northwest of town here, has some no trespassing signs on it, a lot of pine trees.
Right next to the pine trees, there's no more trespassing because it's public property now.
Where it is, it's on 160th Street.
Yeah, I think a lot have been by there before.
Yeah, if you go down there,
Waterloo.
yeah.
Right off of
Exactly.
Cutshaw, right
Yeah.
connected with Cutshaw Park and adjacent to Byron Smith's property. And it wasn't until after the Iowa National, to show you how naive my family was about the property. Now, my grandfather died in 1960. After that, no one lived there. He had moved across the river and bought 7 acres, but no one moved back out there to stay. And sometime during that, the property line had been moved, whereas Byron Smith Hall Consignment Plant is on an acre of my property right now. And Byron Smith, we talked about it. I told him that's the least of my problem because it's not in my name right now. But if given the property back, we'll work that out when I get the property back. And so what I'm here for is to just let you know that you need to look into this and look for it to be some BS from your county attorney's office. Because what he did was bought into it. What this is, to tell you the quite honest truth, if prosecuted, this is a RICO charge because of the elements, because of the different crimes and what it's involved with. I'm not naive to law. I learned everything I learned after 99 and before. When my father died and I had a probate family, so a probate problem, so I was already ready. I got my knowledge from the beautiful women at the State Law Library, at the state capitol, and those at the Drake Library. So I was schooled on what I'm talking about. I know that I should have gotten a notice, just like if you have farmland and you're a sibling to it with your heirs, you and your siblings are heirs to it, all of you have to sign to sell the property. They didn't do that. And I'm not talking about when you purchased it, when the county purchased it. Whoever signed to purchase that land from the Iowa National Heritage Foundation is as much criminal as Joseph. So what I'm looking for is just, I don't have $10,000. They broke me. Trust me. And I'm not talking about this. I'm talking about I can show you 300 applications I put in after June 21st of 99 when they did that to my daughter. Bethany Clark was my worker in Des Moines, Iowa, caseworker, because I had custody of my son. I got blackballed from a job. If I had 10,000, I wouldn't mind giving it to him as long as he promised me to do what he's gonna do. But then I'm thinking, why do I have to pay for somebody stealing something from me? When does law enforcement come in? When does those last 6 words in the pledge apply to me? That's what I'm here for. Have a good day.
Good luck. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yep.
Moving on to more comments.
Anything else for the good of the cause?
I highly suggest contacting the county attorney after that show.
Yeah.
No,
I,
that we got it.
I gave a heads up to the conservation officer director to make sure he reviews and finds out from Dan Cohen what all transpired and stuff. So I gave Ben a heads up on this.
Well, and everything he referred to as Buchanan County was at that end, and it's not Buchanan County, it's the state. In the clerk of court's office, so it has nothing to do with Buchanan County.
I think Don's got something.
Yeah, done.
Mr. Shantz.
Not his first trip in here.
No, it's not. And I got a heads up on this.
He was. When I was the supervisor, he was.
We gotta remember, this is a recorded, meeting.
Anything else? Motion to adjourn?
Should we adjourn?
I'll second.
First and second, all in favor?
All right.
Me adjourn.
Yeah.